Vast part of my work is looking at the idea of inbuilt obsolescence and how, as designers, we can counter that trend. I think as well, very much the fashion industry has sort of planted the seeds for inbuilt obsolescence in the very early days, where it really was about how they could accelerate obsolescence in order to realize greater profits. So I think throughout my career, I've really looked at the outfall from that inbuilt obsolescence. So clothes that, whilst they are still perfectly reasonable in terms of their physical wear, sort of psychologically have become obsolete. And I think as well within the fashion industry, it's looking at that with an increase in sort of overconsumption and overproduction within the industry. So really my work has very much been focused on, as I say, the things that get discarded, the things that are no longer needed, and what we can actually do with that material. In terms of the charity retail sector, this absorbs very much of this trend, say, towards inbuilt obsolescence. As people feel that they want to be more in fashion, that they want the latest, newest thing, the items in their wardrobe become, as I say, obsolete. And in many instances, people are donating their garments to charity sector, which, you know, absorb these very willingly because it's a very good income generating stream for themselves. And it's a way of, you know, engaging in this circular economy. So bringing those items that people no longer want back into being. And it's really where we see sort of the second-hand clothing sector. And this has really sort of grown massively in the, you know, over the years. So whereas before it may have been seen as, you know, not really the done thing to be, you know, shopping in charity shops, now for very many sort of different reasons people are doing it. And I think particularly in the current climate. So my work has been working with these charity retail sort of organisations. So in the 1990s, I worked with Oxfam and we set up a project called No Logo. And that was really about taking sort of donated materials and turning them into sort of funkier clothing, sort of more up to date. And that also broadened the customer range for those charities. And then I touched base again in 2017 when I teamed up with Vicky Burnett, who I'd worked with in the early 90s in Oxfam, and we set up the Martin House Makers Project. And that has sort of taken it a little bit further to actually engaging the community in making. So as I say, it's taking those items quite often within textiles and clothing. It's the people's sort of bottom drawers. It's the projects that they thought they were going to do and then they never did. So they have an abundance of fabric left over. Or as I say, it's just the other clothes maybe we've outgrown or we want to donate. And for my work, it's been picking up those pieces that would possibly have gone to landfill. So it may be that they're a little bit ripped or they've got some stains or, you know, so it's taking that material from that and then reinventing them and turning them into other items. As I said, Martin House Makers Project was something that I was involved in, which was working with a local children's hospice, and they had a typical sort of charity retail set up in that people would donate clothing and textiles and other pieces. And we wanted to develop a range that would work with sort of volunteers and with the wider community in making up some prototypes and various different designs. And the other aim of the project was to look at pop-up retail. So we popped up in various places, in market stalls, and actively as well engaged people, you know, showed people how to upcycle, how to do making. So we took our sewing machines out. And that again was about sort of broadening the knowledge of both the charity to the wider community. But it was also about engaging people, as I say, in thinking about, you know, where their clothes go and looking at as well that in the environmental impacts of the fashion system. I think in terms of the implications generally from much of my research has been that really we do need to consume less. And this is a key problem within the fashion industry, as I say, as we're tempted by the new, we're engaging in this situation where we have, you know, over 10.5 million tonnes of clothes every year going to landfill. We do need to think about that. there's more work as well that needs to be done at looking at the implications of the discarding of clothes, to, you know, of exporting our rubbish to other countries. And I think that's a key element within the work that we were trying to do, was to highlight as well the positives, though, the things that you can do within, you know, upcycling and remaking. And that was some of the key points.